Thank you for joining me on today's GIS program. A few months back, I sat down with the BVI Tourist Board to talk about the We Are One BVI Customer Service Initiative. Now, so far, there have been a few workshops, there have been other initiatives that have come out of that major campaign, and I am joined today by Deputy Director of Tourism, Mrs. Marcia Smith-Hamilton. From the BVI Ports Authority, we have Mr. Osmond Brown, and we also have Mr. Neil Reimer of Her Majesty's Customs. Thank you for joining me on today's program.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So today we're going to update the public on what's been going on with the We Are One BVI Customer Service Initiative. Let's begin with you, Mrs. Hamilton. Let's remind persons about that initiative. What was the purpose, or what is the purpose for the We Are One BVI campaign?
Well, the We Are One BVI campaign, we're very excited about it, number one. It encompasses everyone. What we're saying is, it doesn't matter where you're from, as long as you're in the BVI, we're in this together. We're living in a very competitive world, and as a tourism destination, we have to ensure that we give exceptional service every time. So what we're saying is, when the tourists coming into the BVI, they don't know that you're from Jamaica, Trinidad, or where have you. As long as you're in the BVI, we are one BVI, and we're to give that service, that wow service, every time. Every moment that we have with a tourist is an opportunity for us to give that exceptional service.
Thank you. Now, the campaign officially launched in June, and of course there were a few workshops and other new developments between that time and now. Can we speak about one of the first workshops under that initiative, which would have been the Crisis Communication Workshop? How did that go?
Well, I thought it went very well. We got a lot of feedback from the crisis. You know, the crisis was intended to teach us how to deal with difficult situations and how to deal with the media. We had quite a few participation. I think it was about over 20 different agencies that came on board with us. And we got very positive feedback as a result of that. So we are excited. That was phase one. You know that we're going to have more.
Right.
Can I talk about some of the others?
Sure.
In addition to the crisis, you know, customer service is the main thing. We've had a series of perhaps over 20 customer service related workshops, know your product, history workshops. We did classroom style, we did excursions, and we did on site where we would go to some properties and speak with their employees about customer service. And that's why we invited these two gentlemen. They will tell you about their experience. They attended both the workshop and the sea excursion where they got to experience the product. Because oftentimes we know of the Bats, we know of Peter Island, we know of Little Dix Bay and some of the other properties, but we don't know them really because we have not experienced them the way that the guests coming in would experience it. So they've had the opportunity to do so. So we'll hear from them.
Okay, thank you. Let's hear from you, Mr. Brown. Can you tell us about your experience and what, first of all, which workshop did you attend?
The workshop that I attended was the customer service workshop, where it was very informative of letting you know how to deal with customers on a daily basis, where we learn how to mitigate against certain outbursts that might come about and how to go about dealing with it in a civil way, and showing the customer that you understand where they're coming from and trying to provide a proper service for them.
Okay. Would you say that you have implemented any of the things that you've learned from the customer service training on your job at the BVI Airports Authority?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
In the terms of like better going about doing things with composure, because sometimes customers can be real rowdy. sometimes you have to nip it a little bit to just try to get in a proper way to bring forward yourself and present yourself representing the organization that you work for. So with the workshop, it benefited me well in carrying out some of the procedures that I have learned in the workshop.
Thank you. Mr. Reimer, let's hear from you. Do you echo the sentiments of Mr. Brown? How was the experience for you?
I would say it was very beneficial. And it was a bonus for me being a professional in the industry for over 15 years. I must say that the facilitator, along with the interaction of the classroom students, were very beneficial. Everyone had a very good understanding of what their roles were on the job front, how to deal with customers, how to be professional, and how to be courteous. I also think that being beneficial for the students in the classroom, going out on the field, going to the different resorts, being able to see what the BVI is selling, I think that was the added bonus to the workshop. Because many people that work in the industry, we know what we have, but we actually don't get to go out and see it, where we can elaborate on the product and what we're actually selling in a BVI. So I think that all of these incentives that have been given by the facilitators, I think is an added bonus for individuals on the different job fronts where they can really go out and utilize their skills, have a good understanding of what the BVI is selling as a tourism product, and be able to see the different areas in the BVI that we can help to promote tourism in a very positive way.
Thank you. Who were your facilitators?
The Deputy Director, Ms. Hamilton.
In addition to, you said facilitators.
Well, her assistants were there as well, but she was the person that was leading the entire workshop.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. And can you tell me a bit about your those excursions that both of you would have been on? Where did you go?
We started at the moorings. The excursion that I went on, we started off at the moorings. We ended up at Cooper Island, Peter Island, Norman Island. And we got to see the different entities. Like at Peter Island, we saw the spa and some of the luxurious villas that they were promoting. There have been other workshops that actually went to Virgin Gorda. I'm from Virgin Gorda, so I have seen it. But for me, it was great to go to Peter Island and the other places in Tortola so that I can relate to customers that may have questions. I had the opportunity to see these places and to have a better view of what we are selling. And if any questions would arise about places in Tortola that people would find fit to stay or travel to, I had a good understanding of what was being sold.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, what about you? Where did you go?
Well, we started from the moorings and we went to Virgin Gorda. We stopped at the baths. We went through the baths, dipped in the seawater, soaked a bit. We also went up to the restaurant on the top of the baths. We then left from the baths and we went to Peter Island, where we went to the spa, saw the spa. We saw one of the villas.
Let me ask you this. What would you say was the highlight of that excursion for you?
The highlight was Peter Island for me.
Okay.
Being that it was my first time going to Peter Island and seeing some of the amenities that are available to the tourists, I was fascinated by it. We went to a villa. I think it was probably about 40,000 a night or something like that.
Wow.
And the room was very, very attractive, I must say. There was a gym, but I personally like the gym because the gym was very well put together.
Nice. So both of you really had an experience. Like, this sounds like a very luxurious type of experience.
Absolutely.
Yes, it was.
Okay, and as you said, this way you can know when a visitor comes, when other potential customers come in and ask about the different resorts and what have you that you would have visited, that you can actually talk about that experience and tell them, okay, by the way, you'll also like the gym.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. No.
Can I note something? We should recognize the Morins who has partnered with us throughout the years. They have supported us in this initiative and given us the yachts so that we can give this opportunity to our frontline employees. In addition to seeing some of the land-based operations, we also sailed by some of the islands because you know we're the sailing capital of the world. So we want people to experience sailing as well. So we did go by some of the islands and we sailed Ginger, Salt, Cooper, so that they can get a sense of where these islands are and, you know. So it was a combination of land and sea, all of the excursions that we've done. As you could see, we tried to make them a little different so that persons will experience things that they might not have. What was surprising for me was there were people on these trips, as you've heard, who had not been to Peter Island, and people who had not been to the Bats. We take for granted that, you know, the Bats, everybody's been there. Not such a thing. I mean, I was blown away by how surprised and pleased people were that we indeed have a fantastic product here in the BVI. So it was very gratifying to see the staff being able to explore and appreciate what we have here in the BVI.
Thank you. Now, were you, Mr. Brown and Mr. Reimer, were you also able to observe the level of customer service offered at these different establishments? And what would you say stood out for you at any one of the establishments?
Well, for me, at Peter Island, which I know is a high-rated resort, when we got to the dock, we were greeted by one of the food and beverage managers, and we were given those towels that they use like in the restaurant, those cold towels. And I thought that was very, very classy. And then we were taking on the tour of the different islands, the different areas of Peter Island. So I must say that I've trained at Peter Island for 3 months before when I was doing my internship in the restaurant program. So going back to Peter Island and seeing the developments and realizing that they have maintained their standards of professionalism, I was very, very impressed with the overall look and the performance of the team that they have there.
Thank you. What stood out for you, Mr. Brown?
Well, what stood out for me was the villa. The villa and also the greeting at the dock, where the towels were, the scent was lemongrass.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
And
awesome.
I found that to be very exotic, you know, being that normally we use lemongrass to make tea here in the BVI. And to see it used in that way was very, very nice.
Okay, so basically, in addition to the service offer, that added touch of local flavor, so
Yes.
sold you both.
Yeah.
Very nice. Now, I think at this time, let's take a very short commercial break, and we'll be back with more information about the We Are One BVI Customer Service Initiative.
By now, you may have heard that effective October 1st, 2013, the Department of Motor Vehicles will require overseas drivers wishing to obtain a Virgin Islands driver's license to pass a road skills test in addition to the written exam. So you may be wondering, is there a difference in the way the test will be administered for this group versus a new driver? And the answer is yes. The road test for overseas drivers will be a quick assessment to ensure that the applicant is capable of driving, that they understand the rules of the road, and is able to maneuver on hills. Overseas drivers are urged to remember that this new requirement will become effective on October 1st. So have a vehicle on hand in order to complete the test. A message from the Department of Motor Vehicles, Government of the Virgin Islands.
And welcome back to this GIS program, all about the We Are One BVI Customer Service Initiative. We are providing an update to the initiative, which began in June this year. And of course, I'm still joined by Mrs. Hamilton, Mr. Brown, and Mr. Reimer, who were just giving me an update in terms of their excursion experience, which is a part of the We Are One BVI customer service initiative. Now, one of the workshops in particular, in addition to the excursions, you would have covered particular topics. Can you talk to me about those particular areas that were covered?
Well, I would say the major area was customer service, the way we relate to customers that come to the BVI. For me, as a customs officer, I deal with customers on a daily basis. And I meet the customers that come in by plane, the customers that come in by boat, and even customers that just come in to ask a question. It's very important for us to have and maintain our composure and have a good understanding of how to deal with customers, especially customers that may have had a bad experience by travel, and how can we make them feel welcome in the BVI. So communication with our customers is a very key role in the development of our tourism sector. I must say that attending the workshop was very beneficial in helping me to go back to my colleagues at work and helping them to understand how important it is to deal with customers on a professional level. It's not about a job, it's about having the customers return back to our BVI. We are known as nature's little secrets, so we have to make sure that we do whatever is possible to make sure that the customers enjoy their stay and that they come back to the BVI. So
Thank you. You mentioned something in particular. You gave a scenario about persons who may not have had a pleasant travel experience to the BVI. Did you also cover any other scenarios in particular in the workshop? Any particular scenario?
Yeah, we had scenarios where there was a rowdy customer, and you had to compose yourself in a way where you listen to their problem and you try your best to mitigate the problem. We also learn how you speak to a customer is not just the customer that you're talking to. There are other customers that would be in line waiting as well to get their turn to be solved. So if you didn't get a point across to the customer and the customer is dissatisfied with the service that is being given, another customer might say, well, I didn't enjoy how he handled this particular customer. And that would send a bad message back about the BVI in the sense of spreading the word about the experience of the BVI. So one friend might say, my experience at the BVI was poor, and I won't recommend that you come to the BVI because of poor customer service. But if they experience proper customer service now, they will tell their friends, and their friend will tell their next friend, you need to go to the BVI. I had a grand time. We went to the beach. The taxi drivers were polite. These are the simple things we take for granted about customer service, and those are the things that customers value highly with proper customer service.
Thank you. What would you say would be the key message shared during your training?
The key message is
like the one thing that drove it home for you, or one thing that you would like to share with our viewers, with our listeners, in terms of how important customer service is to the BVI?
All of us are customer service representative of the BVI. And this is something that all of us have to take note and try to make the place a better place in the sense of customer service. Because sometimes how we deal with one on a daily basis might reflect negative on the BVI, regardless to if you're not in the customer service field with the hospitality. Being on a daily basis and talking on a regular, it might drive customers from not coming. But we are on the whole, we share the responsibility of greeting the customers, the tourists, and even giving them directions to certain places. So it's something for all of us to take note and try to adapt proper customer service.
Thank you. Mr. Reimer, what would you say was the key message? What would you tell our viewers and listeners about how important customer service is to the BVI tourism product?
Well, I would say the key message is identifying that customer service is the key and the success to the growth of the BVI tourism sector. I would also say that training is needed in all various areas of the BVI, from the ports to immigration, customs, taxi drivers. Everyone that comes into contact with customers need to have an understanding on how important it is for us to deal with customers on a professional level and ensure that their stay has been pleasurable, so that those customers can go back to their countries and help to market the BVI and let people know that it's not just about the product, it's about the uniqueness of the persons that live here, that see them on a day-to-day basis, from the taxi drivers to the different agents in the different operations. So I would say that it's important for all these personnels to be trained effectively to deal with persons on a professional level so that we can have great customer service interaction in the BVI.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that. That plug for more persons to be trained. Of course, Mrs. Hamilton, this is an ongoing initiative, and I know the BVI Tourist Board has more workshops up their sleeve.
Yes.
So would you like to share?
Certainly. Coming up in October, we're starting back with an aggressive schedule. On the 15th of October, on Totola, we're going to have a historic workshop. On the 16th, customer service, and that will be on Anegada. 17th, customer service, Just Van Dyke. 18th, we're going to have a historic on Virgin Gorda. 23rd, customer service, Virgin Gorda. 24th, customer service on Tortola. And then we're going to have a food and beverage on the 23rd and 24th. We're encouraging everybody to come out in food and beverage, but it's going to be at Little Dix Bay. They have partnered with us on that, and we're very happy and appreciative of that. And then we're going to touch bases again with customs and immigration. That would be on the 6th and 7th of November. On the 12th of November, we'll have another customer service on Virgin Gorda. On the 13th, we'll have another one on Tortola. And then we have a series of historic workshops on the 19th, Virgin Gorda, 20th, Anegada, and around the 26th on Just Van Dyke.
Wow, so when you said aggressive, you
Yes.
did not lie. You have so many different workshops coming up on all of the islands, Tortola, Just Van Dyke, Anegada, and Virgin Gorda. So everyone is covered. I'm most interested, though, in addition to the customer service workshops, you also mentioned the historic workshop and the food and beverage workshop. Tell us a little bit about both of them.
Well, the historic workshop, we have a historian on staff, Ermin Penn. She is absolutely amazing. And she knows things that I've never heard of. In fact, we did one such workshop with the Morins 2 weeks ago for their captains. In essence, what we're saying, in addition to giving great customer service, you should know some history about the BVI. So Ms. Penn is going to be giving this outstanding history of our islands. So stay tuned. I mean, you must come out and come to those workshops. As it relates to the food and beverage, this is something that we've done in the past. We've partnered with Little Dix Bay because they have a facilitator that's also a food and beverage manager. And she, Helen McBride, by the way, she has worked with us in the past to help us to get the message across to everybody that's frontline, that's back of the house in food and beverage. Because whereas we can talk about customer service, it's a little different in food and beverage. There's some techniques and different things like that that you need to know, and she is an expert at it. So we'll go over to Little Dix Bay, and the workshops will be on site at Little Dix Bay. You'd get to experience how they do it, and then you can take that information back to your respective areas, so departments, facilities. So that's the difference with those two.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, how can persons sign up?
All right. They can call the BVI Tourist Board office on Tortola and Virgin Gorda. On Tortola, 494-3134. And they can ask to speak to Kinta Donovan or Natalie Penn. On Virgin Gorda, 495-5181. And anybody in the office there will be able to assist.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And of course, this information will be on our website as well.
Okay, of course, www.
BVItourism.com.
Thank you. So persons are aware, you know where to go, you know who to call to get signed up for any one of the upcoming workshops under the We Are One BVI initiative. Now, we're getting to the end of the program. Of course, it's always nice having all of you here. But there was one thing that came out of the We Are One BVI initiative that a lot of persons were excited about.
Yes.
And we will speak about that right now. When we were here before, we spoke about the jingle competition.
Yes.
And I'm sure you had lots of entries, and someone was chosen. Well, one jingle was chosen above the rest. But before we let persons hear that jingle, can we speak a little bit about the process in terms of the number of entries in addition to the competition itself? Was it tight?
Well, what I will say is the entry that we're going to hear in a minute that we selected is one that we're very proud of. It is a young man, teenager, part-time student, and he did a lot of work and he came up with a great song, one that we hope that will be used, that all of us will sing. You'll hear in the background at the BVI Tourist Board. The competition, we had some guidelines that we talked about before. There were certain words, we are one BVI, customer service, and some other things that we wanted included in the song. And we felt that the young man was able to capture all of this. So we are happy, one, that it's a young BVI lander, and we're happy that he was able to portray some of the things that we wanted in the song. This young man's name is Kadeem O'Neill. He hails from the island of Virgin Gorda. So we're very excited about it, and we're hoping that it delivers the message that we are indeed one BVI.
Thank you. Can we have a listen to the new We Are One BVI jingle?
We are one BVI, and together we will reach the sky. One friendly people, a love can compare. All smiles will greet you, all through the air. Over 60 islands, water's crystal blue. More love for me and you. Let our national pride shine through. I wanna be an ambassador, always polite and courteous. We work hard to provide first class customer service. We are one BVI, and together we will reach the sky. We are one BVI, and together we will reach the sky.
I heard all the key terms
Exactly.
that you had mentioned before.
Yes, he did a
Customer
great job,
service,
yes.
ambassador. He also mentioned world class.
Yes.
I was like, wow, he got.
And it's
he got
catchy. We are one. Yeah, okay. That's a good time.
So that is what we'll be hearing at the tourist board.
Yes.
That's what we'll be singing when we go to our different offices at the Airports Authority and Her Majesty's Customs. And of course at GIS.
Yes.
So I'd like to thank all of you for joining me on today's program. And of course we'll be back for more updates on the We Are One BVI initiative. You know where to go if you would like to sign up for any of the upcoming workshops. Please visit www.bvitourism.com or call the main office at 494-3134 for more information. This has been the GIS special program all about We Are One BVI. I have been your host, April Glasgow. Thank you for watching.
And together we will reach the sky. One friendly people, love can compare. All smiles will greet you all through the year. Over 60 islands, water's crystal blue.